And this is a mini training on the Digital Damsel, which of course we are all trying to work on right now, but it's kind of overwhelming at first. And so I wanted to break it down for you guys so you understand all the steps of it and how to explain it to your customers. And that way you're not just, what is the saying, puking on them all that information. And then they come back and they're just too overwhelmed to buy anything. So this is awesome because it'll be a residual product for us. So once we have it and then our customers have it, basically, we're going to get that percentage off of them every single month. So let me break this down for you, and then I will go over all of the cool stuff out of it. Also, you should have the Digital Damsel brochure. That it's like the 4-page fold-out thingamajigger. You don't need it in front of you right now, but that also lists a lot of information. I personally, at parties, I just give them that customer connection form, which is on our team page, and I also sent it to Mindy, so it's in the training office now. So the customer connection form and a Digital Damsel brochure, and then that postcard that they made that talks about joining. So that's all they get when I do a party at the beginning. And the reason being is I want them to read this Digital Damsel flyer while I get started. So this is the little presentation. This is the corporate presentation. So this is in your back office. So you can use this for clients. I actually went to Office Max or Depot, whichever bought the other person out, and had it printed on the glossy paper, just like our party pilot, and then had it bound as well. So that way I can do presentations and have my notes on there. But then I have this whole thing and I don't forget what to tell them. So it's it's in your training portal. You want that. But, the first, of course, combining physical protection with digital protection. How I present this at parties is I will, you get to the party pilot, and it's got the 3 pages on it, and what I tell them is, okay, Mishar, the glossy paper, what I did was I went to Office Max or Office Depot, whichever one, Staples does it too, and I printed this PDF, which is in your training portal. But I printed it on the glossy paper, which is just like our party pilot. So then that way I can write on it, because I like to use the Expo markers and write my notes. But I bound it full 9 yards, and that way when I'm doing presentations, I can talk to people and have this in front of me so they can see it, and I don't know what to say. So how I present it at the party is the first 3 pages that are in the party pilot. I just say, okay, well, basically we're here to give you that, we're kind of reactive. The bad guy's there. We're going to make sure that we can be proactive and have nothing happen. However, we understand that digital crime is on the rise. And actually, the next slide is it's in the party pilot as well. Half of all adults have had their identity stolen, or some sort of identity, which could be just your credit cards, but have already had something stolen in their lifetime. That's half of them. And then I also talk about how 1 in 10 of those people are children. And here's the crazy part. It actually doesn't say it in the party pilot, but of those children, 90% of them are under the age of 2. And so that way when they hit 16 and you're getting them a bank account because they have their first job, they can't get a bank account because, oh, by the way, you also have a warrant for your arrest and a foreclosure. So they're trying to break down all of that. And I mentioned that at the party. That's about my entire spiel. And I tell them, put a little star on there. If you're interested, I'll call you and give you more information. And then that's when I give them this information. So again, this is the same page that's in your party pilot, but I just kind of break down that when I'm talking to the people in person. I break this down and I explain to them things like the children one, because we don't want our kids to have something to happen to them. And I love the fact that if you haven't signed up for Digital Damsel, definitely do that. And so that way you get a feel of how it looks through the back office, how the training works, when you call in, whole 9 yards. But every single month, they send you a report. So I've got my husband, myself, and my 2 children on there. And every single month, you pay your, for myself, the $59.99 or $95. But say that's on the first. Actually, I think I enrolled on the second. But then about 2 days later, I get an email that says what the status of everything is. And it breaks it down into 5 categories for each family member, and it's even color coordinated, and it says you have no risk this month, don't worry. So they're constantly checking things every single month to make sure that somebody didn't put a rental agreement in your name. somebody's not using your medical information and taking it and using it instead of you. They break it all down and they tell you every single month, which is awesome. And then, there's the 4 different breakdowns. If you have that Digital Damsel flyer, the 4-piece one, this is what it's going into a little bit more detail about. The next slide says it. Okay, this is the comparison to the competitor A and competitor B is LifeLock and Legal Shield, because they're our main competitors when it comes to identity theft. And that's why it's breaking them down. We don't tell people who competitor A and B are because it's bad marketing practice. That's why it just says A and B. But then that way you can show that, hey, this is their pricing and ours is better. We want them to we want more information. We want to be able to say look at all these other things we have more than the other guys. And it's not that we're trying to say we're better than them. We're just trying to say, hey, we offer you more services for the same price or cheaper. And so then that way they don't feel like, oh, well, I can just go somewhere else kind of thing. Not to mention you can throw in here the customer aspect. So we are there every single month. If you sign up for LifeLock, which I did personally have, if you want to get a hold of them, you have to get a hold of them during business hours, wait on hold for 20 to 45 minutes, and then you get some guy that sometimes speaks English, or it's a lady that just had a really bad day, and she takes it out on you. And so, whereas Digital Damsel, if they have any issues, they call us first, which is good because then we're staying in front of our customers every single month, which we really want to have so we can retain our current customers. But also, we can then, of course, say, oh, let me call in Vicious for you, or let me 3-way them in for you, or here's the number for them. But you're staying in front of your customer, which is a huge thing. If you're looking at a traditional business, they always say the cost of customer acquisition is more expensive than it is to retain a customer. And that's the same exact thing in Party Plan. If we keep our customers that we currently have, and we keep giving them more items, and we keep doing parties with them, and we keep spoiling them, we stay in front of them every single month, they're more likely to stick with us. And you develop that friendship. I literally have been invited to weddings, and I have gone to baby showers and whatnot because I have been in front of these people. They get an email from me at least once a month. I have a hostess club where the hostesses are getting a postcard from me every month. I try to send postcards to a lot of my customers. Usually I kind of break it down, the people who only spent $10 don't get postcards from me very frequently, only because postage now is expensive. But I try to stay on their mind and on their face 24/7, so then that way they remember me. But that's what I explain here, is that they're getting me, and they're getting Damsel, and they're getting a Vicious, as opposed to the other 2 companies where, yes, you're getting similar products, however, you don't have that personalized touch. And that is a huge thing when it comes to something like this, because I can tell you firsthand from having my identity stolen and my credit card stolen and that kind of thing, and having one of our competitors, I didn't get that personal touch. I was just another number to them. I was not a human to them. It was, let me do what I have to do to get you off the phone. And so explaining this to your customers is huge, because in that situation, they're already vulnerable, they're already scared, they're already unhappy, and now you are there with them. So that's what I explain here. Next page. Okay, so of course you can read this to them, you can explain it to them a little bit further. I don't like to read you guys the same things that you can read. I've been to death by PowerPoint more times than I'd like to admit. So, but we just talk about how the criminals here, it's no longer just to steal your person run. It's actually easier to buy somebody's identity off the internet than it is to steal somebody's purse these days. And so talk about that kind of thing. Actually, I went into a health office the other day, and I happened to know their IT guy. And I was talking with him, and then I had another friend there who's a retired police officer, and we were just kind of shooting the breeze and talking about different things going on. And at one point, the guy was showing us his new phone. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then they were talking about how this retired police officer got a hold of me, and I talked about how he found my phone number off the back of my car, and, got into the, oh, well, what about your security and everything? And I said, watch this. I typed in somebody's phone number in Google on my phone in a private browser, and I got his personal home address in under 2 minutes. And it was just by typing it in and knowing how to type it in. All right, it's another one he gave me. Oh, well, type this in. And he gave me, I want to say he gave me his address and last name. And I was able to pull up his social security number and his credit history for the last couple of years. And all of this I did in under 2 minutes. And I do have a lot of IT training, but to have an actual criminal who is his entire focus is to ruin somebody's life or to get free things because he can steal your credit card and not actually have to work, it's so much easier these days to get it off the internet. And to have a program like Digital Damsel where they handle it all for us. We don't even have to go and, go to court if we don't want to. They'll cover a lot of that for us, so then that way they don't have to. Or if it's one of those they do demand you be in person, then what Ambitious does is they will actually give you up to $250 a day in lost wages. And so then that way you still get to go to work. So, but that's what I talk about here when we talk about the digital age. Some people think, oh, well, I just don't need it. I have one lady, she is a sweetheart. She's a good friend of mine, but her husband flat out told me, he's like, I don't think we need this program. And I was like explaining to him, well, digital age, what if somebody gets your credit card or your medical information? He's like, yeah, but I'm going to die in the next couple of years. So, hey, just go let them have a fun shopping spree and I'll let my lawyers handle it. Which, it kind of set me back because I work hard for my money. But he is very well off. His kids are very well off. And I understood what he was saying. However, the rest of us, we actually work for a living. We're not retired with a very pretty bank account now. And so for me, it's one of those, oh, they took $10 out of my account. I want that money back. And so that's how I explain it to everybody. Okay, so how criminals get our data. Now, data breaches are so easy. I just explained to you how I was able to find tons of information off, just typing in a phone number or typing in an address and a last name. But these are all of the different places that have been hacked in the last year. And hacking is so ridiculously easy these year when I learn how to talk here. Hacking is easy these days because that's what criminals do. Not to mention that most of them are millennials, and millennials grew up with a computer. They grew up with a cell phone. My little brother has had a cell phone since he was 8 years old, which is insane because my daughter is 9 and I will never give her a phone. I'm going to hold off as long as I can. But a lot of these kids, they grew up with technology. So for them to hack a website, it's nothing to them. And that's why the breaching part of it, there's a security firm that handles all of this for our personal information, but also the industry, it goes up 12% every single year, minimum. And so they're trying to stay on top of it, but that's why we have programs like Digital Damsel, because, the criminals are usually one step ahead. So we're just trying to stay on the same path as them. Okay, and then it also talks about, oh my goodness, Facebook. Okay, so I don't need to know what you ate for dinner, and where you went after, and who you're with, and tagging into places, and everything like that. I always make a joke, you've always, who did you stalk on Facebook today? Or little things like that. And the reason being is we are all data happy these days. We like to tell everybody what's going on, which in some cases is really good. If you are one of those people where you are an open book, hey, go for it. However, don't tag your location. If you ever see me tagged in something, it's probably something that happened yesterday, because I don't ever tag myself in what I'm doing right now. But especially teenagers, that's something that they do every day, multiple times a day. They post on their Facebook page, heading to school, won't be home till 3. Well, now we know that the house is empty from 8 to 3. Those kinds of things. And so that's how criminals get in there. Text messages, emails, there's so many ways. Don't ever open, if you get like an e-message that is a e-card, that is actually the #1 way to pass a virus on a computer or hack somebody is by an e-card. So don't ever open up those. But that's what they're talking about here, is just, there's so many different ways. You don't have to go into as much information in this if you do not want to. I just want to make sure you guys have all the info so you can fill out your people, and if they're one of those people who want tons and tons of information like me, or if there's somebody who just, I want to know the overall basics, it's going to work for me, yes or no kind of thing. But now you've got all the info. Okay. So why criminals want it? Of course they want the money. That's what they're in it for. The younger kids are in it to impress each other. It's a big psychological thing. I've gone to tons of classes about it where these kids are just trying to impress each other. But most of them, it's about the money. They don't have to work for a living. They'll just steal somebody else's, information and sell it and make money off of it. And so that's why they do that. The medical insurance info, that's a big one for, I don't want to single anybody out, but a lot of times it's used for illegals. They give the illegals the information, and then that way they have health insurance, whereas if they had just filled out the paperwork, they'd have health insurance. So again, that's not me singling them out. I'm just telling you guys what I've learned from the police department here. But all of this, these little things that they've got listed here, the bullet points, are different things that criminals want because, for one, it's easy for them to get, but also they don't have to work. They can have somebody else buy their information and, use their entire bank account, but now they have a nice car and a house. So, okay, so digital defense, of course, it's the identity, credit, privacy, reputation, and money. Identity, of course, we've already gone over, and the credit, we don't want somebody to open up an apartment and a credit card and something else in our name, and now we go to buy a new house and we can't because somebody dropped our credit 100 points. That would be horrendous. And then the privacy is more of, we don't want them to take our information and spread it out. Same thing with the reputation. If somebody goes on Facebook and slanders your name, well, that slanders you, it slanders your business, it slanders your family. We don't want anything like that to happen to you. So that's why we want to protect your identity. And then, of course, money, because we work hard for our money. We don't want to just give it out there. If we're giving it away, we're tithing, or we're giving it to charities that we think need it, those kinds of things. We're just not making money so the criminals can have it. Okay, so the identity theft protection, these are all the different things that it protects with our program. Now, this is also in that little brochure that you guys have. If you don't, make sure you order them. But, so the identity theft, monitoring, and reports. Like I said, you get the email every single month, which is awesome. You also have a username and password to log in, and you can see a bunch of things through their website as well through Digital Damsel. And then the credit monitoring reports and scores, this is awesome. It actually gives you a full credit report. So 2 days ago, my husband came upstairs, hey, I need a credit report for work. Can you print it off for me? And 2 seconds later, I had a full credit report for him. It was like 15 pages, but it had it on there. Everything, it tells you whether you're late on a payment. It breaks it down into little categories. If you're good on everything, if it's a closed account, what happened. It's a full report, and it's free, which they do have the free creditreport.com that accidentally charges you 7 days later and then continues to charge you every month. So this is another great aspect on there, and it updates. The privacy protection is awesome because we don't want our credit card information to be passed out, and we don't want our social to be passed out. So it monitors that for you. Lost wallet is awesome too. So what you do is there's a little section when you log in that says, hey, this is a lost wallet section. You put everything that's in your wallet. So you type your credit card numbers in there, and then it has you put in the phone numbers. So if somebody, if you lose your wallet or if your wallet's stolen, you click a couple of buttons and you now have all of the information that was in your wallet, and you can close out all those accounts or freeze them or whatever you need to do for the time being. And that way you're covered. You don't have to worry about, oh no, I lost my wallet at the club and what am I going to do? And somebody's going to rack that up before I even get home tonight. With this lost wallet protection, it's all there. And then the ID theft recovery service, that is if somebody does steal your information and they go through and they, decide to spend a ton of money. You'll have up to $25,000 in reimbursements on all of that because they usually get it within a couple of days, so before a lot of damage is done. Whereas a lot of the other companies usually find out a few months to years later, and that's why their reimbursement is higher. Like LifeLock, theirs is the $1 million guarantee. Yes, but that's because they actually won't do anything for 6 to 9 months, and so by that time somebody has already done a ton of damage. And again, that's who I had before, and I have horror stories from working with them. But that's kind of the breakdown on the identity theft protection. So then that way you can explain it further for your client. And, oh, yep, it says here just it logs in, sends you the reports. We also have it set up for text messages. That'll be happening too with all of that. The computer protection is awesome. So just like Geek Squad with Best Buy, they will remote into your computer. and they will explain what's going on with your computer. They will do a full system checkup and cleanup, which is nice because if you have those pop-up blockers or the pop-ups that keep coming up or it keeps telling you you need to update Java, don't update Java because it's not what it actually is. That is a, not a Trojan, worm. I think it's a worm that's on your computer. And so call them, they'll fix it up. And I even have one of my computers where it keeps coming back, and I've called them 5 times, and every single time they fix it. And it's one of my computers that my kids use, and I'm pretty sure they keep clicking on something they shouldn't be, and that's why it keeps coming back. But they keep fixing it. That tune-up and maintenance is huge because even us using our computers on a daily basis, we delete files, and then we use files, and then we move files, and that puts a lot of wear and tear on your hard drive. So they go through and they fix that for you. The speed boost, this is crazy. So if you Google speed boost, you will find a ton of programs that you can download for $19.95 or more, and they'll speed your computer up, whereas Digital Damsel does it for free. So that's a huge thing right there. And then they also have mobile security. This is awesome. They actually had me download an app on my phone that is an app that will secure things. It makes it so everything is a little bit more secure on your phone, which, did you guys know that you can crash your phones and that you can do the, if you've ever crashed a computer, you know how painful it is. But you can do the same thing on your phone. And I have crashed phones before. I mean, I've also smashed phones before. But crashing phones is a little more personal because oh, I shouldn't have clicked on that link or downloaded all those programs and now my pictures and everything like that. And then you can call them anytime too. And they'll work on it. And they do work on Macs too, which is huge because so many companies don't work on Macs. So, but yeah, that's all that. And then, so protection is a huge thing. And then productivity, because we do not like it when our computers are slow. And when they actually remote in, it's cool. I've watched them. So they have you go to this website, you type in this password, you okay them to get on your computer, and then for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, they work on your computer and you can see what they're doing too, which is what I like. But it's fun to watch and it's a lot of good information. Then they just go in there and they fix it all. But also, savings. It's how many people have, had to take their computer in to get repaired once a month or every 6 months or once a year. You don't want to have to replace your computer every single year. Yes, the latest and greatest comes out every 6 months. However, we don't want to waste our money on new computers every 6 months either. So that is a protection there. And here, yeah, like I said, I won't read you guys this stuff. You know all this. And this PowerPoint is the one that's in your back office that you can print off. So the social media monitoring. So this is awesome. This is how I seal the deal with parents with teenagers. And this is what I tell them. So what this program does is you can link your child's Facebook account to your Digital Damsel. And if your son or daughter is getting bullied, or anybody mentions on their wall, or they mention on someone else's wall, or even a private message, anything about guns, drugs, alcohol, or bullying, anything that can be deemed as bullying, you get an email notifying you. And this is great because a lot of times kids are bullied and they try to deal with it themselves. We don't want ever to talk to our parents about what's going on. And so to say that you can handle it before it becomes a problem is a huge thing because there's just so much going on these days. We actually just had a bill passed in Nevada yesterday for bullying because we've actually never had a bullying regulation in Nevada before. But, the cyber stalking, if they're getting groomed for like sex trafficking, it will give you a notification of that too, which is huge if you have a teenage daughter. That's one of the things I'm worried about when my daughter gets older, because of course I live in Vegas and you never know. But that's a huge thing because, it happens everywhere. It's just more prevalent in Vegas because we have an entire division that works just on it. But, that's how I sell this to people or with teenagers, because that alone is a huge thing when you have kids. So, and then the internet safety alerts and education, it actually tells you about the scams and viruses and threats. And actually, I'm surprised you guys haven't seen the little pop-up from my computer yet. But every time there's a new thing going on in my area, or if it's something I need to worry about on the internet, it actually has a pop-up on my computer that tells me, hey, watch this, look out for this. And then, of course, they've got tons of training on there, too. So even if you're not very familiar with how a computer works, this will give you more information, too. Well, not the computer, but the internet. So, but that's another good thing, too. The people who are not familiar with computers, you can say, hey, we've got this online education for you. You can look at these classes, and that's just an extra added element to what we're already doing to protect you. So, and then, of course, it always talks about the, just this is more of a recap. $65 value, and of course, upgrade to the family protection, so with the individual program, it's one phone, one computer. With the family program, it is anybody, as many computers and as many phones, because some people have 2 kids and some people have 12 kids, and they understand that. So they want to make sure that you've got enough for everybody in your family. And that's a little presentation there with all of the information. Now, what I do when I break it down, so I am a numbers person. I analyze everything. So why should you offer it to your customers? Because this is a lot of information. Again, at the parties, I just say, hey, this is the little spiel on it. If you want more information, start your page, and then I meet them for coffee. It's worth us to spend $3 on a cup of coffee for them, because that first month they register, we get our 25 or 30% commission, depending on if you are recruit or crochet or hire. So that first month, which is awesome. So let me get my math out here. Nope, that's not it. So that first month we would get $16.82 off of a $59.95 package for our 30%. And then it goes into 20% each month after. And the reason it doesn't stay at the 30% is because you're now getting a residual income every single month that they make their payment. But that's still $11.99 in our pocket just for them paying their bill. Now, again, I like to stay in front of my customers, but to have them there and looking at that every single month, and I send reminders, hey, don't forget to check this out and log in and whatnot. But $12 every single month, and that goes down in your teams too. It goes on your volume. So if you have a $500 a month minimum that you need to make, if you're a senior mentor or hire, because that's what we do, is $500 a month. Well, what if you have, or if you do that, then $250 of that can be Digital Damsel, and then $250 is a party. So then you really only need one party a month. Now, of course, we want more than that because we like a bigger paycheck as opposed to a smaller paycheck. But instead of doing 2 parties, we do 1 on a month where life is just crazy. Then it's one of those easy things. Another thing, think about it this way. So you have 10 customers, and each customer, they're, let's say 1 year. So 10 customers is 600, no wait. I did the math and then I wrote notes and then I don't remember what I did. Okay, so 10 customers every single month, that's $119.90 in our pocket. So $120 every month if we have 10 customers. We'll take that and times that by 12, so 1 year, and that's an extra $1,500 in our pocket, which is nice. And then think about if all your team does the same thing, and you get customers every single month. And it's one of those things where I know, I think we're going to start implementing, our team is going to start implementing next month, where, every 3 customers, and you'll get a pin or something like that. I'm still working out the details on that. But it's one of those things where we can do our parties and offer this and just get a bigger paycheck. So it's really lucrative for us. We're actually the only party plan company that does something like this. But it's, like I said, I know it's overwhelming at first. It was overwhelming for me, and being that I was even at leadership, but anyways, let me see if it will let me get you guys, and if you have any questions. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? I know I kind of just threw a ton of information at you, and I think it says question and answer mode, but it says somebody has to raise their hand, which is weird. I don't know how this works. Or just type it in that chat box on the bottom left. Okay. Well, I don't know if it's working or not because, again, this is a new platform, but I wanted to make sure you guys have all this information and it's all there for you. Again, I am recording this, or at least it says it's recording. But what we'll do is, oh, hold on, it says Sherry. Okay, Sherry, are you there? Maybe not. Okay. I gotta learn how to use this new system. Anyways, I will post this recording on the team page. And then what we'll do is I will, as I get more information and break things down, I'll start doing trainings like once a month or something. So then that way we can easily give this to our customers so that we can all get that residual income. So thanks for letting me steal you guys on a evening. And if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything, you know how to get a hold of me. So I'll talk to you